There is a strange thing the human mind does after losing someone. The relationship ends, the conversations stop, their life continues, and yet they can remain completely alive inside your mind. You wake up and think about them. You see something that reminds you of them. You hear a song, you pass a familiar place, and suddenly there they are again. The frustrating part? You may know they aren't thinking about you. You may even know the relationship wasn't good for you. So why does your brain keep bringing them back? From a psychological perspective, the answer isn't simply love, it's attachment. When we become emotionally attached to someone, our brain begins to associate that person with safety, reward, familiarity, and emotional regulation. They become part of your internal world. So when the relationship disappears, your brain doesn't immediately delete that person, it still expects them to be there. And that's where something interesting happens. Your brain doesn't only remember the person, it remembers the pattern, the conversations, the routines, the anticipation of their messages, the feeling of being wanted, even the uncertainty. This is one reason people can become stuck thinking about someone who isn't thinking about them anymore. The mind keeps returning to something that feels unfinished. Psychologists sometimes describe this through the idea of the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished or unresolved experiences can remain more mentally active than completed ones, and relationships can create a lot of unfinished business, things you never said, questions you never got answers to, a version of the future you thought was going to happen, but never did. So your brain keeps going back, not necessarily because that person is your soulmate. Sometimes, your brain simply hasn't accepted that the story ended. And there's another uncomfortable truth. You may not even miss the person themselves. You may miss who you were when you were with them, the attention, the routine, the hope, the feeling that someone was waiting for you. That's why replacing the person isn't always the solution. Your mind isn't asking for another human being, it's trying to rebuild a sense of connection. And this is where healing becomes psychologically important. You don't have to force yourself to stop thinking about someone, because trying not to think about something can make the thought even more persistent. Instead, you learn to notice the thought without following it. I'm thinking about them again. That's all. Not, maybe I should message them. Not, maybe they still miss me. Not, what if things could have been different? Just, I'm thinking about them. Because a thought is not a message from the universe, a memory is not a sign, and missing someone doesn't automatically mean you should go back to them. Sometimes, your brain is simply remembering something that once mattered, and eventually the memory can remain without controlling you. You don't necessarily forget the person, you just stop needing the memory to become reality again. I'm TSC.